Hey there, artists. Welcome to this week's art project called Bunch of Balloons. What you'll need for this project is paper. You will need pencil, Sharpie, eraser, and then your choice of coloring materials. You can use one or more than one. Your goals for this week: I can observe and draw. I can use the art element of space by using overlapping and size. I can create my own background. I can think about feelings and come up with ways to lift up myself and others. Let's talk about space, the art element of space. Space is the area around us. We use certain tricks to make it look like there is 3D space on our paper, when really it's just a flat 2D surface. Overlapping is one of those tricks. Place objects in front of or behind other objects, and you'll create that trick that kind of looks like you have space on your page. Size is another trick. Make things that are closer bigger and things that are farther away smaller. Check out this video to help us see how overlapping helps. All right, so you can see that overlapping helps to show space, even if your page is not three-dimensional. All right, so next up, we are going to hear a story. It has balloons in it. It's the inspiration for our project that's coming up. And the balloons definitely demonstrate some overlapping and some of that size to help create the illusion of space. So enjoy this story.
Pass It On by Sophie Henn. When you see something terrific, smile a smile and pass it on. If you chance upon a chuckle, hee 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 and pass it on. If something happens that's amazing, whoop it up and pass it on. Should you spot a thing of wonder, jump for joy and pass it on. With all the smiles you have made and the joy you've spread about, you'll find the world's a little nicer and those smiles a little brighter. Sometimes the fun and glee aren't in their usual place, but search around. There's always some. A hum, a hug, a happy face. So when the sky is gray and rainy, you'll know just what to do. Grab your wellies and your coat, splash a smile and pass it on. If you feel a little lonely, don't let that worry you. Just branch out, see who's there. Find some fun and pass it on. And when you least expect it, like a bolt out of the blue, a smile or a chuckle will be passed right back to you. Enjoy that happy moment. Let that feeling fill you up. Then have a ball, raise the roof, kick your heels, and Pass it on.
All right. Okay, so we are going to have a demonstration now to start our project. So please follow along with these directions. Don't forget that the two ways to create space on your page is through overlapping and size on this project.
Okay, so we are going to be drawing our bunch of balloons. The way we start this project is we start with the shape of the balloons. We want to make the balloons about right here on the page. So I'm going to start with my first balloon shape. It's going to start off in a circular shape, but then it's going to sort of change into an organic shape. I am using small sketching strokes that are nice and light so that if I need to erase them, I can do that. Or if I need to change directions, I can do that as well. Okay, once I've got my first balloon, I've made it nice and big, okay, because that one is in front. Remember that when we try to make it look like there's space on the page, we make things that are closer bigger. When I go to make them over here, they're going to be smaller because they'll be farther away. I am also going to be working on overlapping. So overlapping is when you have things that are in front and things that are behind on top of each other. And the things that are in front, we draw the whole thing. The things that are behind, we only draw part of it because it's tucked behind. So let me draw one that's overlapped here so we can kind of see that. And you can choose your balloons to be small or big. It's up to you as the artist. And you can make them more round if you want. Again, it's up to you as the artist. Okay, so this one is in front, so it is the whole thing is showing. This one is behind, so it is got this front edge that's covering up just a bit, and that creates the illusion of space. Now I'm going to go ahead and continue to draw in my balloons. Now that I've got my balloons all sketched in, I am going to add some details. Just going to add a triangle for the little bottom part of the balloon. Again, it doesn't have to be a perfect triangle. And then after I get the triangles done, I'm going to add one string for each balloon. Some will be tucked behind, some will be in front because again, they are overlapping. So now I'm going to draw the bags down below, okay? And I just want to show you some examples of the different shapes of bags. You can make them look the way that you would like them to look. Make sure that they're big enough to have some words in them, at least one or two words. And again, it's your choice. You can make as many as you'd like, have at least one. Probably don't do more than 4. Now it's time to take your Sharpie and Sharpie everything in. Just work carefully, making sure that if you make any mistakes, you just make it work for your art. After I'm done sharpening, I'm going to go ahead and use my eraser to erase any leftover pencil lines.
All right, artists, that is part 1. Stay tuned. Part 2 is coming right on up. And it will be the next steps for your bunch of balloons. Notice that the words on the side of this one have some of those feelings words. These are to help inspire you to come up with some more words. Choose the ones that work for your art. Here we go.
One of the great things about art is that as artists, we get to express ourselves through our art. And one way that we can express ourselves is to really kind of dig deep and think about the way that we're feeling. Things are a little different right now, and so maybe not all of the feelings that you're having are positive. Maybe you're feeling a little annoyed at the way we have to do school, or sometimes maybe you're bored.
Maybe you are bothered by things that are happening, or you're worried. Maybe you just don't really like the changes. Um, so I want you to sort of think about what feelings you might be having that are maybe not so positive. Okay? And we're going to take a few of those words and just a word or two, and we're going to write them in the baggage below. So for my project, I'm going to choose the word annoyed. I'm going to write it neatly right in my first bag. Okay? I'm going to choose the word bored for this bag. And then my big one, if I have something I'm feeling that is a few words to explain how I'm feeling, then I'm going to go ahead and write it in my big one. So this one I'm going to write, don't like change. And again, it's to express how you're feeling today while you're making this art. Okay? Then afterwards, I'm going to think about how, when I do something nice for someone else, like in the book, I feel better myself and I make the other person feel better. So it's a good idea to sort of think about, how can I make someone else feel good? How can I do something that will sort of lift someone else up? And in the process, it's going to lift us up from these feelings. Another really cool thing that art can do is express that. So I'm going to choose a couple of words or phrases, and I'm going to write them in the balloons, things that are going to lift up other people and lift me up from feeling these things. Now that I've got my words, and I even added a little bit of decoration, you can choose to do that or not, it is time to color in the balloons. You can choose to use marker. You can also choose to use some colored pencils or some crayons. Use what you have. Start with the outside edge and then color in. I'm also going to add a little white part that will be the light sort of shining onto the balloons. You can add that if you'd like, or you can skip it. Next, I'm going to switch over to colored pencils. Again, you can use whatever you have and whatever you like. I like to sometimes use different materials for different parts. So I'm going to go ahead and use some browns and blacks and go ahead and neatly color in my bags. And the last step for our bunch of balloons project is to add a background. Now you can choose what you would like. I like to think about my balloons sort of floating away in the sky. Some options, I have this one, and I use colored pencil. I made some great big clouds, so sort of like a zoomed up view. And then I made it sort of darker and gray and then fade to lighter. In this one, I did some dark clouds down here. I added a little bit of texture with some darker spots and some other lines in the bottom. And then as I sort of went away from the bottom of the page, I made sort of like the sun shining in the different colors that the sun might shine. If you would like to add clouds up in the sky, if you just want to make your background all one color, if you'd like to make a night sky, it's your choice as the artist, and you may use whatever materials you have to go ahead and finish up your bunch of balloons piece in the best way that you can. All right, artists, it is time for you to go ahead and make your artwork. Think about maybe even sometime this week moving forward, and if you're feeling a yucky feeling, doing something kind for someone else, or doing just a small thing to make yourself and someone else feel better. When you're done, don't forget that you should upload your picture to Google Classroom